Nearly 2 in 5 female readers admitted imagining their partner was a character from their book during sex. So a group of researchers decided to ask them, what makes these romance novels so irresistible? These are their 4 answers. Number 1. Sexual explicitness. In the 1980s, the key to a satisfying romance novel was emotional bonding according to women. By 2016, it became emotional bonding and the passionate sex descriptions. But what do these descriptions look like? Well, in 2018, a bunch of researchers analyzed 703 of the best rated romance novels and discovered that these are the most common words written in all of them. As you can see, the top word is anticipation. Why? Apparently, most women need to get mentally turned on before they get physically turned on. What does this have to do with anticipation? Well, biologically speaking, in most cases, the anticipation of a reward releases more dopamine in our brain than the reward itself. That's why many kiss scenes from romantic novels have prolonged eye contact before the act. A trick you can steal for yourself, by the way. Now, at some point after they're done with anticipation, these novels tend to get to the description of the literal sexual scenes. But even though books like 50 Shades or 365 Days get very explicit, many romance novels don't. Because they simply don't need to. According to this 2011 study, while men need very explicit descriptions to get aroused, women can also get turned on by suggestive descriptions such as parts of the hero's body. Now, what are the body parts most desired by female readers? Well, in the book, A Billion Wicked Thoughts, it's revealed that these are the most common words used to describe the male body, which leads us to number 2, the characters. Now, the authors dedicated an entire chapter to describe the female fantasy male protagonist, and he can be metaphorically described as a coconut. Hard on the outside, powerful, dangerous, confident, dominant, and emotionally guarded, and soft on the inside. Kind, loving, protective, emotionally vulnerable, and devoted. But his softness is selective. He isn't warm and vulnerable with everyone, only with the heroine. Plus, he usually has a profession that either suggests a lot of financial success, high status, competence, or great physical abilities. She, on the other hand, is often written with relatable everyday flaws like clumsiness, social awkwardness, ordinary looks, or financial struggles. This structural choice allows the reader to easily project herself into the narrative and experience the high-value hero's devotion firsthand. From an evolutionary standpoint, the female fantasy is to find a man that combines the best traits of both. A cad, attractive, exciting, dominant, short-term mating material. And a dad, caring, loyal, and protective, long-term mating material. In the real world, that kind of man is both rare and hard to keep. This is where an interesting detail comes in hand. You see, in most of these novels, the male protagonist is not only choosing her, but also rejecting the other females that are better looking or higher in social status. A sign of hyper loyalty. Now, how do you become a highly desirable mate in the real world? Well, all of these characters have maximized their sexual market value. So, the first step to becoming the real-life Christian Grey is to take the SMV calculator, discover your score, and identify your biggest weak point. Then you can join my private community where you'll get rid of your weak points with the help of 6 courses plus one-on-one guidance. Number 3, the story world. Romance novels are basically written corn. But if that's true, why are 50% of women readers in relationships while only 37% of readers are single? Shouldn't single women be more interested in reading these novels? Well, no. Because as proven in 2009, most female readers use romance novels primarily to relax and escape the pressures of everyday life, and only secondarily to produce sexual arousal. Most of these readers are women who have to take care of the home, keep everything clean, and remind their husbands to do their parts of the chores. They feel like the mothers who have to take care of everything. Plus, if we dig a little deeper, we see that inside the novel storyline, the male protagonist is the one who takes care of everything, while the female female protagonist can enter her feminine energy. If you want her to feel that escapism when she's with you, try to take care of most of the tasks when you're on a date. Plan the date, choose a location, lead her there, plan what you're gonna do afterwards, and take her home. But now that we know what makes the plot interesting, let's take a look at the story through a magnifying glass. In the book, A Natural History of the Romance Novel, Pamela Regis describes that romance novels are composed out of 8 essential narrative elements: the flawed state of the world, the initial meeting, the central conflict that keeps them apart, the undeniable draw despite the barrier, the confession of love, the moment the relationship seems permanently destroyed, the epiphany of a new information that overcomes the conflict, and the happily ever after. Now, from all these elements, point of ritual death is the most important because without it, the happily ever after feels unearned. Number 4. Romance fiction. It's 1998. Sildenafil, also known as Viagra, is released into the marketplace, and the men were greedy to test the drug. 3 billion prescriptions, $1 billion sales. The company itself doubled in value, and it was just the first year. Pfizer scored a big win, but they only scored it with half the market. So they started a new project, but something went wrong. They tested and tested with over 3,000 women, but the results were always utterly ineffective. For years they struggled, and for years they failed. So in 2004, they closed the research and abandoned the project. As proven in 2011, the male and female brain operates in very different patterns. While the male brain can get turned on by a visual stimulus alone, the female brain is a little bit more complicated. For a woman to feel deeply aroused, the physical clues and the emotional clues and the social clues must align. A romance novel is the perfect medium for this because it allows the author to satisfy all of these conditions simultaneously. That's why women might see a man with what they call a dad bod as more attractive than a guy that is overly fit. If you want to understand the science behind how women choose a husband, I know the perfect video for you.
So nobody made me but the main streets, 'cause too many people think they made me. Well, if they really made me, then replace me.